But I think for me, TikTok was the biggest one. That's where I have most of my followers. And I could really see a definite link between a video that I do and then the streams on Spotify.
Yeah.
Because Suits You, the first song that kind of went viral on TikTok, I'd already released like a year and a half before, and it had like 1,000 streams. And I thought, oh, it's a shame because, you know, it's a good song.
Yeah.
And then I posted one video of it, and I think it went from 1,000 streams to like 1 million in the space of 3 weeks.
Welcome to Studio Sessions, a video series for creative performers. Each week we go behind the scenes on the shoots and sit down with guests to discuss their careers, the creative industry, and share the lessons they've learned along the way. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. Hello.
How's your day been today?
It's been amazing. I've been with you. We've had a fab time.
Full stop.
Full stop. Yeah.
So if anyone who doesn't know who you are, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yes. Hello, my name's Cassa Jackson, and I am a singer-songwriter from London.
So Cassa Jackson, tell me about how you became a singer-songwriter. Where did it all start for you?
So I started writing songs when I was at school, and I didn't actually necessarily want to be a singer at this point. I just was writing songs about the relationship I was in. And then one of my teachers put a song I'd written into a songwriting competition, and then I ended up getting through to the final. And obviously I was still at school at this point, and then I was performing the song at the final of that, and then cut to like my third gig ever. Obviously the previous ones I've been at school was at Wembley Arena. So it was kind of thrown in the deep end because someone had basically spotted me at the final of this competition and been like, your performance was great. Do you want to come and do this show? And I was like, okay. Yes.
So how did that feel in that moment of being how old were you at this point?
Well, I would have been 17 or 18.
17, so stepping on stage at Wembley Arena.
I know.
Were you sharing it?
Yeah, I was actually. It was kind of just like so surreal. Like I was doing a cover, so it wasn't one of my own songs, but that feeling of being on stage performing to all those people, that is what made me then think I want to do this as a career.
Yeah.
I want to be writing my own songs and sing my own song here. So then cut to having then been performing my own songs at arenas was then just like, yeah, it was so cool.
So how did that kind of progress from like you kind of penning that first song, kind of like you recording your first song that is actually yours, to kind of performing, kind of growing as an artist?
Yeah, I mean, it was quite a long process. It was, after that, I'd barely written any songs. So after that, before going to uni, I took a year. And instead of, I was going to just like go traveling or whatever, but then I ended up splitting up with my then boyfriend, and obviously was really upset. So I took to pen and paper and just started writing all my feelings down, and then kind of ended up getting a discography of songs. And I actually thought, do you know what, they're quite good. And then I was at university and I started to release them, and I started to gig more. I went to Bristol. I did French and Spanish, which was kind of not really related to music, but I then thought, you know, this is what I want to do. And then I started releasing them just online on TikTok, and that is when everything changed and people started streaming them loads and loads. All these songs that I'd just written in my bedroom about my ex-boyfriend. And yeah, it's kind of just been one sort of evolving process. There's not been a moment where I've been like, okay, let's go. It's just kind of been just a process.
Yeah. And how important do you think TikTok is for like a music artist today?
I think it's insanely important. Well, social media in general. But I think for me, TikTok was the biggest one. That's where I have most of my followers. And I could really see a definite link between a video that I do and then the streams on Spotify.
Yeah.
Because Suits You, the first song that kind of went viral on TikTok, I'd already released like a year and a half before, and it had like 1,000 streams. And I thought, oh, it's a shame because, you know, it's a good song.
Yeah.
And then I posted one video of it, and I think it went from 1,000 streams to like 1 million in the space of 3 weeks. And what do
you think it was that was different about that video that kind of made it pop compared to previous ones you'd done before?
To be honest, I don't think there was any difference. It was very similar. And in fact, I'd actually already posted that video once, and then I reposted it because I thought, oh, I haven't got anything to post today. And something about the time I posted, the algorithm, because that's how it works. They show it to 10 people, and if they interact with it, then they show it to more. And something, I just got lucky, and then people kept sharing it. And maybe, it is a good song, and I say something catchy at the start, like what the song's about, which I guess people then related to. But I think it is a bit pot luck with social media and TikTok. Like, people think, oh, you've got to spend hours curating the best post ever, and actually, it's often the things that you spend 5 minutes on end up doing the best.
I think it's mad that even though you'd posted that video before, like the same video a second time did well.
I know.
And I feel like that's a good thing to kind of like anyone who's listening who is maybe making music or even just posting stuff in general.
Yeah.
Is that like, it's not necessarily that your post is bad, it's just not the right time for it.
Exactly.
So I think don't be disheartened if you don't get 1 million views on a thing.
That's my main piece of advice. And again, that is the same song that I released, a year and a half before, and it's the same song that I've now sung, to a pub at 20 with 20 people listening and at the O2 Arena. Like, it's just whatever, things will have their time, and as long as you're consistent, keep pushing, then it will happen eventually. Because I remember thinking, I'll just post it, see what happens. And you're right, it's the same video and the song's no different. It just, now everyone's like, oh, that's amazing because it's got all those streams when actually,
Cool. So going on to the first look from today,
yes.
What was that and what was the reason you brought that?
So the first look was the double green. And the reason for that was I love my kind of style of, to complement the songs that I'm releasing, is very bold colours, very out there, confident, and I love the fluff. Something that I always wear is, there's always a bit of fluff involved. And I've had that outfit for such a long time and I've never worn it. And then we were doing this and I thought, do you know what, today's the day.
I think that happens so often where people bring something in that's just lived in their wardrobe for years.
Yeah.
And then it just finds the right time. It's almost like the videos from before. It's like it was created ages ago.
Yeah.
But then it just takes that right moment, that right kind of something aligned.
Yeah, again. And I thought, well, I'm not going to necessarily wear this to perform in because, I don't know, it's just not the easiest thing to move around in. But then, I knew I'd save it for the right moment and here it is.
So as a singer, how do you kind of stay consistent with kind of recording, writing, all of the things that make your career your career?
It's definitely something that you've got to stay on top of, because I think obviously what everyone just sees online is the songs that you release, but actually there's so much that goes on behind the scenes. And so you've actually got to, you've got to treat it, even if it's not your full-time job at the beginning, like a full-time job, because you're your own, you're writing the songs, write the theme tune, sing but you're doing all of that, and then you've got to pre-promote it, and there's just so much going on. So actually now I have a schedule. I try and treat it like a 9 to 5. I wake up in the morning and I do admin or whatever, then I'm doing social media, then I'm doing, I don't know, a shoot or whatever I'm doing. So you've got to just plan it out like it's a proper schedule, because you could just be like, I'll wake up at midday and sort of not, but nothing's going to get done if you do that. Do you know what I mean?
And what does making a song look like, from you having like an initial idea to kind of the final point?
Yeah.
Like, I'm guessing it's quite a long process as well.
And one of the songs, so I've got a song coming out on Friday, one of the looks that we were talking about, and I played it to you a year ago.
Yeah,
that's how long it is. And so I have an idea in my head that I want to write a song about. I write it in my notes app, then I get to the session, write the song, and this whole process is really long because you do the writing session, then you maybe record a demo at the end.
What does a writing session look like?
But with me, it's quite chaotic. For me, it's basically just a therapy session, a big chat. I only work with people that I can chat to very honestly, and I have to, because I'm so into lyrics. I love lyrics. Like we could do songwriting, because it's basically just about having a connection with someone, being overly honest. As we know from my songs, I hold nothing back. So I just do that. We talk about everything, and then we'll be like, that was a good idea. That's relatable. Let's write about that. And more often than not, I've already got something that I want to write about, whether it's, an ex-boyfriend or a current happy relationship.
Yeah.
And then from that, we record a demo and then go back maybe a couple of weeks after, redo the vocals. And then it's into production, back and forth. Then it's mixing and mastering. And so then the song's done. And that's when the artwork
And along
comes
this
in.
way, obviously there's lots of other people involved in these processes. How did you go about finding the right people to work with?
So again, that's been a process. But one of the people that I basically have narrowed my team down a lot, because one of the things I really value is authenticity and trust, and just surrounding myself with the right sort of people. And so because all of my songs are quite vulnerable, I like to work with people that already know me, and I'm almost like I need to be friends with them. Otherwise it's kind of just random to go into a room and be like trauma dump. So one of the guys I write most of my songs with is Nath Brooks, and he's now an artist himself, but we just met when I was literally at Wembley Arena at that show, and he was just singing there, and then we ended up just writing a song together, and it was about my ex-boyfriend at the time, and that is Suits You, and that's the song that I was talking about. And we just wrote that in my bedroom. He just came to my house one day and we were like, oh, let's write a song. And I remember thinking, you need to have a massive studio, it needs to be all like, you know, so professional. But these days it actually doesn't. It just needs to be two people or just you by yourself who have a connection, write a good song, and then see how it goes.
I think that's something that's really interesting that I know from like the way that you've gone is you don't need to like wait on a label. You don't need to kind of like be at the mercy of like someone else. You can just go and do it yourself.
Yeah, and I still think that like no one makes things happen or no one works harder for yourself than yourself. So I'm always just a fan of like, if you've got an idea, if you want to do something, do it, go for it, and then they will come to you.
Yeah.
Not necessarily like a big major, like I'm not signed, and I wouldn't necessarily want to be anyway, because I like to do things on my schedule when I want to do it. And then I also think there's something much more rewarding about having done it yourself, but used like with people that you value and trust as well. Like I would not be anywhere without the people I've worked with, like you, hairstylists, like photographers. You know, I can't do any of that by myself. And so like you've been insanely involved in my journey, which is why I'm so like happy that we're doing this podcast, because you really have. Like when I first met you, I was writing breakup songs, and now here we are today doing like wedding vibe songs. Yeah. I know, it's crazy.
And you've got a puppy too.
And I've got a puppy. I know, that's the biggest. That's where you're like, how was your day been? Well, I woke up very chaotic.
So going on to the second look, what was that and why did you bring that?
So that one I bought because I wanted to do like almost like a Marilyn Monroe inspired look. And it's for a new song that I've written. And then we actually kind of had the mirror idea halfway through, which, because one of the lyrics in one of the songs I've written is about looking in the mirror and telling yourself like affirmations and stuff. And so that kind of just evolved. But yeah, the look's meant to be a bit... it's meant to be confident, but also a bit quirky at the same time.
Yeah, I feel like it's always nice when I work with like music artists where you can almost like pull on different lyrics or like pull on the vibe of like there's something to work from.
Yeah.
It's not like it's just we're just making this person look as good as possible. It's like there's a story behind it.
Yeah, yeah. And all my songs are very much based on a specific story. Like that's one of the things that's really important to me. I want to, and then the artwork tells the story even more. It's almost like a mini music. When I write a song, I'm thinking, what would the music video look like? And that's kind of the artwork's then maybe like a clip from that, like a timestamp.
Yeah, I think that's a really nice way to get into the headspace of the art that you're creating. So you mentioned about performing at the O2. What was that and kind of how did that come about, and who are some other people that you've worked with?
So that was, well, the first time was on the JLS tour, and that was straight after I finished uni. I remember I found out that I was going on that tour on the day of my final Spanish exam.
Wow.
So wasn't that bothered about the exam. I was just so excited because it was going to be the whole arena tour. So we did 28 dates at all the arenas across the UK and Ireland, and yeah, that was amazing. And then I've also toured with Blue, and I also sang. They did the O2 as well. You came to that.
I came to both of them.
You came to both of them. Yeah. As I say, whatever I've done, Adam's been there.
So how did they come about?
So the JLS tour, I knew JB's wife, Chloe, from a long time ago. She actually taught me dance.
Wow.
Random. She's the most amazing dancer. And then when I started to trying to be a singer, obviously I was like 17 or whatever, she started following me on my account, and then so did JB. And I remember being like, oh my God, JB started following me. But he was just so supportive of all my songs and like used to share them, and which obviously was such a help at that time. Like imagine, I had no followers and he had such a big profile and was sharing my songs. And then I just slid into his DMs one day when I saw they were going on tour, and I was like, oh my God, I would love to support you guys. And then he said, cool, I'll put your name forward. But then COVID happened, so they didn't do the tour.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But then he remembered that I'd done that. And then when they did come to do it straight after COVID, he said, oh, by the way, I've put your name in. And then one day said, you've got it.
I think the power of the ask is just so important.
I know, yeah.
Because there must be so many people who have that exact same opportunity, but would be too scared to kind of even drop that question in.
And like, I don't know who I thought I was asking, but I just thought, well, we'll see, you know, and maybe not. And everything I've ever done actually has come from like an Instagram DM. And I don't do it enough, actually. I need to do it more. But I think, yeah, people respect it. If you believe in yourself, then they want to help. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because even like so many people that I've reached out to who like I've just wanted to shoot with. Like I remember shooting with like Sophie, Machine Gun Kelly's guitarist, and that was just, I'd seen that she joined the tour. And I was like, she looks cool. So I was like, I'm just going to drop her a DM.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, the chance of her seeing it is
Yeah.
like not going to happen. And then post it. And then, but 2 days later, just got a reply back being like, oh, I'm actually English and from England. And I was just like, oh, didn't know that.
Yeah.
And she's, oh, we've got a break for the tour in these 2 months. So I'd love to do something.
Yeah, and then that's the thing. She sees your work and thinks, I want to work with this guy. Like, do you know what I mean? You need to value your own worth as well and think, you know, I actually bring something to the table here. Yeah.
And I think it's like almost like, because there's two sides to it, isn't there? So there's confidence of going towards someone, but then there's also making sure that you've got confidence in your own work and you've got something to back it up. So if you're DMing someone and they come to your page,
what are they looking at?
Yeah.
And you want them to think, wow. And I think at the time when I sent that DM, I'd made sure that I'd released like a good number of songs so that, you know, you can't go on tour if you haven't written enough songs to sing. Yeah. And I'd shown that I'd posted a lot and I was really trying. And that's the thing, people respect it when you put the work in. Like if you've just done like one cover once online and then you go, can I come on tour with you? They're going to be like, no.
Yeah. Like me and Sienna were talking about this yesterday, where we're talking about like mentors and how like why someone would want to be your mentor or like want to help you out. And I feel like anyone who I've ever helped out, because I get messages from people all the time being like, oh, can I come and work for you? Can I shadow you? Can I do this? Can I do that? And first thing I'll do is I'll go on their page and I'll look. I'm like, do you look like someone who's like putting in the work?
Yeah.
And it's like, if you see someone who's genuinely trying, you want to help them. And I feel like if you go on their page and they're like, oh, like I get messages where they're like, oh, I really want to be a photographer. Can I come and shadow you? And I go on the page and there's like one picture.
Yeah.
And it just says like photographer in their thing. I'm like, but you're not a photographer.
Yeah.
Like you've just claimed that. But you need to prove that you can do the work,
exactly,
prove that you're driven.
Yeah. And that's the other thing, like the other person I write most of my songs with, he lives in France now, but we met in England and I was just introduced to him by someone that I think wanted to manage me at the time. And then he had like he'd put 5 artists in front of him and said, who do you want to work with out of these 5? And he'd picked me. And so I then went to the session and we ended up getting on really well. And I said, why did you pick me out of all these people? And he went, well, you'd written this song and you'd made a music video with no budget in the woods. And you'd done a photo shoot for it. And I could see that it was no budget, but you'd tried. And also he liked songwriting as well. And I was like, yeah, okay, amazing. And I thought, you know, that's a bit redundant that I'd done those silly little photo shoots, but actually everything is a building block towards the wider picture.
And I feel like that's so important. I think for any young creatives, don't wait until you've got like a huge film crew to be able to shoot a music video.
If you wait, it will never happen.
Exactly. Yeah. And also, no one will give you the chance. No one will, if you DM a photographer or a videographer or something, and be like, oh, can you shoot my music video? Which I think is how we first met. It's like if I'd have gone on your page and there was no songs or no effort that you'd made before, I'd be like, no.
Yeah.
But as soon as you can see like, oh, this person's trying and they're heading in the right direction, someone will give them a chance.
And I also think that about in terms of like songs and releasing, because a lot of people have the opinion, and to be fair, I'm not necessarily right, but where they're like, you've got to write 1,000 songs before you even release one. And I kind of think, if I'd have done that, I'd just be sat here with nothing and 1,000 songs. Whereas because I released, then I've managed to reach more people through my songs. Because if, you know, you've got to do covers as well, but what makes me different is my writing and what I've got to say. So if I hadn't have released anything, then how are you going to ever build?
Yeah, I think the idea of creating in public is very, very important, because you can just sit in your bedroom and create stuff all the time. But unless you share it with the world, you learn so much by doing that.
Yeah, and what people like and what they don't like. And it's also kind of daunting, because especially songwriting, you're writing, well, especially in my case, very autobiographical, personal songs. And like, I remember when I released my first song, I was just at university, first year, freshers, you're trying to make all these new friends, and I've written a breakup song, and then I got back with the guy, and then everyone's, like, it was just like a whole really embarrassing thing. But then it really threw me out of my comfort zone and made me think, okay, I've got to not care what people think, this is what I want to do. And then, you know, people kind of respect that.
I think it's really easy that someone will give you feedback that's negative, and you're like, well, I don't want to do that again, and just stop. There's probably so many creatives who've started something had a bit of bad feedback from people. I
Yeah.
thought, oh, it's just not for me, and then just completely moved away from it.
Yeah. But you would be surprised, like your friends and stuff, like everyone is actually very supportive. Like I think I even started another Instagram account when I first started my music and changed my name to Cassa Jackson, and everyone was like, why have you done that? And it's because I was a bit embarrassed at the start. And I just wanted it to be this thing that I did in secret. Like when I first started TikTok, it was a complete secret. I didn't tell anyone until I had like 10,000 followers, because I was like, oh, then that's acceptable enough. But I mean, it really made it harder for myself, because starting with no followers, then trying to reach someone. I remember like my first 10 videos got like 0 views because there was just no one viewing them. And I said to my mum, I told my mum, and I was like, it's broken. I don't know what's going on. But yeah. You just got to believe in yourself.
So going on to the third look from today, what was that?
What was that one? So that was all white dress and white boots. And what we were going for with that was, I'm in my happy era, and basically my song Reset Me, people have seen as like a wedding song.
You sang it at a wedding.
I sang it at a wedding nearly last week. But I hadn't written it to be a wedding song. I'd written it to be just a song about being reset by my boyfriend. But I can see how people would, I sang it at their first dance, and it was so beautiful. But I wanted to write a song that is actually a wedding song, and it's kind of like, I've written one that's Celine Dion, pure love ballad song. And so we were trying to go for like angelic, happy vibes.
And I think as well, like, thinking about the audience as well, because if it's like, okay, if this is for someone who's going to get married, what are they going to expect to see when they kind of like see a cover? Like, what kind of vibe, even if you just in that cover kind of tries to get the emotion of the song in, how can we kind of convey that? And I feel like we did a really good job, even like just with the fan kind of giving like a bit of wind coming through.
Yeah, exactly. And so that's definitely what, and I have got a whole new audience of people that are going, I'm getting married at this time, which is, that's not something I've had. I've normally had people going through breakups.
Yeah, got some happier things.
Yeah, I love being in the happy era though. Everyone's telling me how them and their boyfriend or them and their partner listens to my songs and it's their song. And I think, wow, who knew we could get here?
So kind of off the back of kind of like talking about photo shoots and stuff, how do you kind of build a brand as a performer in terms of like your visual aesthetic?
Well, I think that's something that's sort of come through working with people like you and having a stylist to kind of extend what I'm trying to do with my songs. So for me, it's very much been block colours and like sharp angular positions. Like I remember when I was designing my merch, and I spoke to someone about it, and they said, oh, what I've noticed throughout your theme of everything you post on Instagram is you're always very angular. And I was like, am I? But I just happened to have been, because that's just seemingly what I've been doing. But yeah, I think because I'm trying to do a certain thing with my songs and tell a story, that then just working off what the songs are about, that then creates the photos, as we were talking about today.
And how do you decide who you want to work with in terms of kind of photographers, stylists, makeup artists?
Again, Instagram. I just kind of look at things, and then you introduce to other people through people. Like I saw you on Instagram. I think I'd seen someone had shot with you, and I was like, wow, iconic, bold imagery. And so I just slid into your DMs and was like, hi. And then the same with like my stylist. She we met actually on a photo shoot, and then we just got on really well, and then she introduced me to makeup artists and other photographers, and like it's just kind of been a process of meeting nice people who I love their work but also love spending time with, because although it is a job, I want to have a nice time doing it and feel comfortable and have a laugh, and that's been one of the main things. Then it doesn't actually feel like a job. Do you know what I mean?
I think like the people you work with is everything. And I think 100%. If you can surround yourself with like good people, that's what makes a really like happy career. How do you choose who you spend kind of your time with?
Well, that's been a bit of a process, and I think I've had to as I've got a bit older, then like cut people out who drain my energy. I want to go and spend time with people who motivate each other and build everyone up and support each other. That's actually kind of what Snakes and Ladders is about a little bit, in terms of not wanting to surround myself with fake people and people that I don't feel comfortable with, and I don't want to feel like I'm having to pretend. I just want to be honest, and I want people to support me the way I support them, and again, be friendly with people.
So on that note, the fourth look was about Snakes and Ladders.
Yes, it was.
What was that?
So that was kind of like Jester vibes, but sort of upmarket. Like, it's got the fluff in. Again, the fluff's already involved. And this is another outfit that I've wanted to wear for absolutely ages. Thigh-high red boots and kind of jockey, you said, isn't it?
Yeah.
And again, that song is a bit about... It's kind of about my experience in the music industry, how you sometimes feel a bit like a show pony, hence the jockey, and you're just sort of playing this game that there is no real winner. But the point of Snakes and Ladders is one of the lyrics in it is you're playing a zero-sum game where to win, I should lose. You're a sucker for rules. And all the imagery based in the song from the writing is all based around a board game and playing Snakes and Ladders. So then I kind of wanted to be seen to be in, like, you know, kind of clowny outfit without going the full, like, makeup and everything, but just alluding to the fact that it's all a bit of a game. And it was something that that side of it is something that I wanted to step back from. And that's, you know, I don't think you have to be involved in that in order to be successful in the music industry, because actually you'll find the higher up you get, everyone is more genuine. And one of the things from one of the lyrics in the first verse was based off a networking event that I went to. And this girl came up to me and the first thing she said was, "Hi, how many followers have you got?" And I thought she was joking. I was like, surely this is not a question. But she genuinely didn't want to speak to me if I didn't have a blue tick and I didn't have X amount of followers. And I thought, absolutely not. And that was the party that I'm alluding to. Yeah. And I just thought, no. And it's just that kind of, everyone's obviously wanting to get somewhere, but, you know, you've got to value something else over that. You know, why wouldn't you value the fact that I'm a nice person? So yeah, I wanted to step away from the kind of toxic side of the music industry and just focus on the art and the creativity, because that's what I really enjoy. So that's what we were kind of going for with that look in a roundabout way.
Yeah, and I think it was really cool. And I think it's one of those ones where we just start talking and you're like, oh, maybe try this and try this and try this. And we ended up kind of like having this thing with like all the cables, kind of like the audio cables holding you like a puppet.
Yeah,
so it's a bit of like a metaphor for kind of like the industry in a way.
Exactly. And then we sat down and in the spotlight as well. And that was kind of like, I don't know, the start of like a music video. I can see that as well.
Yeah. So going on to the music industry there, like what kind of challenges have you faced with the music industry and kind of like on your path so far? And how's that kind of changed on your approach going forward for the future?
Well, I would say that there are a lot of people in this industry who are wanting to make money off of you without actually doing much. So obviously, as I said before, you're the one doing it, or you're writing the songs, promoting them all. And I have unfortunately been in situations where I've signed things, and once you've signed that, you're stuck. And I know that a lot of people, all my friends in the music industry, have unfortunately done a similar thing. And you hear about it with like your Taylor Swifts and, you know, these terrible deals they signed. But I feel like that's what I'm trying to do with this song a bit as well, is shine a light on the fact that this is happening to smaller artists and people up and coming. So basically just be careful what you sign, because you spend all those years trying to get out of it.
So if you're a young person now and you're looking to get into the music industry, and you're like, okay, I want some management, you're looking for all of those things. You're looking for someone to like manage you or take you on. What's your advice to someone in that situation?
Well, my advice would be, you can do a hell of a lot more by yourself than you think. And I think you don't need to wait until you have a manager and a team and everything, because they should come to you once you're like, you know, showing enough online and stuff. Whereas if someone comes in and wants you to sign a contract straight away, exciting, but actually trapping. And you can sign, people want you to sign contracts for like 4 or 5 years, and you don't know where you're going to be in 5 years. So I think definitely don't rush into signing anything. And also just maybe mentors. Like, as you say, I know you mentor a lot of people, and just friends and stuff. Like, you know, a lot of the things I've done have just been with my friends, asking them advice. What do you think I should post? And that has actually been more valuable than any manager's ever given me, just because they're the kind of audience that I'm going for, people my age. And I also think no one really knows. Like, I know it sounds really stupid, but I used to think, oh, well, if I meet the right person, they know everything. And actually, there's social media, everything's ever changing so much 100%. That everyone's kind of just trying to keep up. Like, I remember people thinking, wow, you've really cracked the TikTok algorithm. How did you do that? And I'm like, I have no idea. I just press post every single day and I hope for the best. Like, it's not like I knew anything.
And I think often like the bigger labels where they're perceived to have that, they're just throwing loads of money at it.
Yeah.
So it's not like they know how to do it better, they're just throwing money at just like ads or promotion.
Exactly.
In some way.
And that does get you so far, but ultimately if you then sign with the wrong label and they throw loads of money at you and then it doesn't work, then they'll drop you. But even if it does work, you're then just going to be in so much debt that you're never going to see any of the money. So that's why I'm like pro being independent, because you can be in charge of everything yourself. But if you are going to go to a label, then it needs to be the right deal. Don't just sign anything because it's a big name.
Yeah. And what does the future look like for Cassa Jackson?
What does the future look like? Well, I have lots of new music coming. Obviously, I don't know when this is going to air, but I've got Snakes and Ladders coming on Friday. And then I've also written my first Christmas song, which will be coming out this year. Kind of happy Christmas vibes. And I've always wanted to do that. And then eventually my own headline tour, which I've been waiting to do properly. Again, the way I want to do it, I want it to be like group therapy. And people say listening to my songs is like going to therapy, because we've got the whole journey from heartbreak, then healing, and it's not like I've kind of decided that's what it's going to be. It's just that's what's happened in my life, and I'm documenting it through song. So yeah, lots of new music, lots more performances, and yeah.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for coming on today. It was so fun.
It was so fun, wasn't it?
Boom!
Woo!
Yes! Thank you so much for watching. If you liked this episode, please share it. If you want to see more of these, click subscribe. And if you've got any questions or anything you want to ask, just drop them in the comments below. See you in the next session.